YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And as requested, I got some more NFL 2019 undrafted free agency content for you guys. I did a top 15 best single signings of undrafted free agency. Now we're going to talk about who can make the team. Everyone seems to be very interested in undrafted free agency, so we'll break some more of this down. I'm going to go through every single team and talk about the guy that has the best chances to make that team. We'll also talk, for most teams, we'll talk about multiple guys that can make it other than the one that's featured on the screen. So we're going to go through every team and a lot of undrafted free agents. There's a lot of good ones out there. We'll see which ones I think can make the team. Right before we get started with this, 20K is our subscriber goal. We're getting close. Support's been awesome. Clicking that like button, subscribe button, be much appreciated. There's our Twitter in the bottom right there, and in the description. Would also much appreciate it if you check us out on Twitter and Instagram there. Let's start with the first team. We'll go in order of the picks from this past draft. And the Cardinals, I like William Sweet from North Carolina as the best chances to make the Arizona Cardinals team. We thought they would focus more on offensive line in the actual draft, and they didn't do that, really. They focused on mainly playmakers. William Sweet, I thought, could be maybe a fifth-round pick. Wouldn't surprise me if he was sixth. Maybe not crazy if he was seventh, but we're starting to get to that crazy level that he went undrafted. So I think a depth guy for offensive line for them. He can play tackle, possibly can slide into guard. Pretty much any of these tackles these days can slide into guard and have potential. But they can keep him out there at tackle, and they definitely need the depth, and he can be a future starter, really. I like William Sweet, North Carolina. A lot of the North Carolina guys I say have solid upside because they weren't really coached too well, I didn't think. That's why they made a big coaching change there. So I like Sweet for the Cardinals. Other guys I considered, really just two other guys. Two corners, Ryan Pulley and Brian Peavy. Ryan Pulley's from Arkansas. His tape is pretty good. Combine was not so good. I'm guessing that's why he went undrafted. And Brian Peavy had an excellent year, against playing for Iowa State, playing against the Big 12 offenses, which is the best in football, college football, and he was very solid. Very solid. I think he's, about 5'9", so I think that's why he went and drafted, very undersized. So I'd say Sweet makes the team. He has the best chances, and I do think he makes the team. Some of these guys, I think they have the best chances of each team, but maybe they don't make the team. Sweet, I think he makes the team, and I'd say one of those cornerbacks, Pulley or Peavy, could actually make the team. We'll see. I'll say one of those guys do. They make it. I like this undrafted free agency class for all these teams here, but I think we get two guys here for the Cardinals that can make it, even though they had a bunch of draft picks. So we'll see. Not always do all 7 rounds, all draft picks make the team. Some of those guys get outplayed by undrafted guys. So we'll see. I like William Sweet as the best chances for the Cardinals, though. Second pick for the Niners, I got the Florida Atlantic linebacker, Azeez Al-Shaair. He's a very solid linebacker, very athletic, tackling machine. The reason he didn't get drafted is because the injury. He tore both his ACL and MCL, so I think he would have been drafted as high as the 5th round, maybe 6th round, if it wasn't for the injury. So he's going to be there. He's going to compete in the rookie minicamp, obviously, that already got started, and the training camp. So he's going to try out for the team, obviously. And if he's healthy, he's going to look good. So I think he realistically can make the team there. Shortage on linebacker depth. They're pretty much, good to go with their starters. And we're talking undrafted guys. I don't know if a bunch of these guys will be starters right away. But they need depth at the linebacker position. I think the best undrafted free agent they got was Kevin Givens, the interior defensive lineman from Penn State. But they got a pretty good D-line group. He can make the team, Kevin Givens. I do think he's their best undrafted free agents. But Azeez Al-Shaair is, I think, the guy that has the best chances. As long as he stays healthy, he's going to be pretty good. And like I said, they need some linebacker depth. So really the only one I considered there was Kevin Givens. Not the greatest in terms of haul for undrafted free agency, but they got a couple good guys there. Next team is the Jets. I wanted Greg Dortch. This is an easy one. I thought he should have got drafted. If he would have been drafted in the 4th round, I would have said good pick. So I like Greg Dortch. He's a weapon on offense as a receiver and as a special teamer, a returner, obviously. He's pretty much good at everything at the receiver position. You can throw him pretty much anything, screen pass, anything underneath. He can go deep. He can track the ball for a smaller guy. Pretty sure that's why he went and drafted, because he's smaller and didn't participate at the combine. So, the Jets, to me, needed receivers. Greg Dortch is a really good receiver. I really think he'll make the team. He has the best chances, and I think he makes the team. They also, two guys to look out for. Tyler Jones, offensive lineman from NC State, because they definitely could use some younger offensive linemen in there for depth right away. And then Jalen Moore, the Appalachian State running back, actually has an opportunity. I don't know if he really makes it. I'd say Greg Dortch definitely makes it. And Tyler Jones definitely has a realistic possibility. So some guys to look out for the Jets. Pretty good few guys they got there. On to the next team, the Raiders. Pretty easy one. Tavon Coney. I had a second-round grade on Tavon Coney, and he didn't get drafted. Second round, and I wouldn't have blew me away if he went as far back as fourth round. Wouldn't have been absolutely crazy if he went fifth round, but it's crazy that he didn't get taken in the sixth, the seventh, and then didn't really, so that means he didn't get taken at all. To me, Tavon Coney could actually start for the Raiders. They needed more linebacker help. They helped themselves in free agency, but nothing crazy. Guys that are question marks still. To me, Tavon Coney can do everything he asks for a linebacker these days. He can cover, he can tackle, he's instinctive. He's pretty athletic for his size. So he's not super athletic. Maybe that. I'm still trying to figure out why he didn't get drafted, but I think he'll make the team. I'm not going to say he starts week one. He's an undrafted free agent, but I think he can be the starter down the line there. So that's a heck of a pickup. Other guys for the Raiders, they got a really good group here. Keelan Doss is an excellent receiver. I think a safe receiver in terms of, he'll be able to get open and catch the ball. But now they went from having pretty much no receivers to having a pretty good group of, receiver unit here. So it'll be tough for Keelan Doss, but he can get open, he can catch the ball. So he could make the team, he could impress, but because of the receiver group, it's going to be tough still. And Tyler Romer from San Diego State, I liked his tape. I thought he can go in the fifth round possibly, offensive lineman, so they could use him for depth. I'd say Coney definitely makes it. The other two guys, it's about 40% chance, maybe up to 50 for Tyler Romer. So we'll see. Pretty good group they brought in. One of the tougher ones here to decide who had the best chances was Tampa Bay. And I chose Bruce Anderson, the running back from North Dakota State. Very solid running back, not like super flashy, smart, has some good strength, but not like super speedy or anything, but he's solid running back. And the reason I chose him is because you just look at their running back group. I'm a believer in Ronald Jones. I liked him last year. I know he couldn't really figure out the playbook, but it's going to be a new playbook. So I think he has a future there. They really don't have too many running backs, so I really think he can make the team here and he can compete. So they need running back help. They didn't draft one. I think that's why it's realistic. Couple receivers. I think one of these receivers will make it. DeMarcus Lodge or Anthony Johnson. Lodge is obviously from Ole Miss. Anthony Johnson from Buffalo. I think one of those guys makes it. I'm leaning towards Lodge. He's the flashier one. He's the big play one. Anthony Johnson maybe will look. He'll be right in the middle there. 1 second Lodge will look better probably in the tryout or in camp, and then 1 second Anthony Lodge will maybe have a drop, and then they'll make Anthony Johnson look better. So that's kind of, they're two different receivers. So we'll see who makes it there. I do think Bruce Anderson makes it, and I think one of those receivers make it, and then Zach Bailey, offensive lineman, can also has a chance to make it. But Bruce Anderson has a good shot because this may be the worst worst running back unit in football. So that'd be interesting if he could actually win the starting job. I think that's realistic. He's nothing special as a prospect, but it's realistic. He gets playing time, we'll say. The Giants are next. I really like Paul Adams from Missouri there, the offensive lineman. I like him making the team because I expected them to get a right tackle. They need a starting right tackle, really. I mean, Chad Wheeler is supposed to be the starting right tackle, but even I think he's a very good depth guy. Paul Adams. I'm not saying Paul Adams is going to start, but I think you bring him in there and make him compete for right tackle. I think that makes a lot of sense. So we'll see. They had a lot of good guys, too. The linebacker from Texas San Antonio, Josiah Tawaafa, I'm surprised he didn't get drafted. He's a high-motor linebacker, pretty instinctive. He's pretty rangy, too, goes sideline to sideline. I actually think he makes the team, too. So Paul Adams is the best chance because they didn't draft that right tackle I think they need, and he is that. And I think he could have went maybe 5th round, 6th round. And then Josiah, I thought could have went as high as the 4th round, as late as the 6th round. And they're set with their starting inside linebackers, but they definitely need depth. So I think he makes the team. Another guy to look out for is Teron Prescott. Another NC State lineman, can play guard. They're more looking for the tackle, but for guard depth, Prescott's good, and he can make the team. I'd say he's maybe a 50-50. So I think two guys really make the team. I think Paul Adams and Josiah Tawa'afa make the team. A big-time sleeper is Reggie White Jr. from Monmouth, and he played some pretty bad competition, but he was dominant. Definitely dominant on the jump balls, the contested balls, and they didn't draft a receiver, so they definitely can use a guy like Reggie White as depth and has some upside. So really, I'm thinking 4 guys could make it. I'm saying 2 guys make it. Next team, tough to pick who had the best chances for the Jaguars. I went with Savion Smith, though, because he's clearly the best player they got, an undrafted free agency. I had a 3rd-round grade on him. Wouldn't surprise me, went 4th or 5th, we'll say. Physical corner, definitely can come up and tackle, not afraid to come up and tackle. He'll get beat deep here and there, nothing crazy. He can handle it. But I think he makes the team because obviously they have very good starting corners. They don't have the depth, though. They just don't have the depth, and he's definitely good enough to make a team. But it was very tough because Cedric Woods, the safety from Ole Miss, to me, was a 5th-round guy, maybe 6th at the latest. One of the more athletic guys in the draft, had the fastest 40, I believe, at the Combine. And once again, set at starters at safety. They could get better. It's hard for them to get better at the starting position at corner. Safety, they're set at safety starters, but they could get better. But they have no depth. And Cedric Woods can be that depth. He also can come play in the slot if you need him to as well. He's actually pretty decent in press and running with receivers and tight ends downfield. He can get physical at times. So he's not going to be super flashy besides his speed. I think he can make the team. So that's a heck of a pickup. Look at Donnell Green, 200 offensive lineman. This one from Minnesota. I think he could be depth. And then Joe Giles-Harris, the Duke linebacker. Possibility if he stays healthy. He got hurt last year. So a great group from the Jaguars. I think Savion Smith and Cedric Woods make the team. The other guys definitely have a chance that I named. So 2 DBs I think definitely can make the team, possibly make an impact too as a rotation guys. Moving on to the next team, the Lions. Bo Benshavel, I think he makes the team. Wisconsin offensive lineman, can play guard for them. They honestly, not saying he starts, but they honestly need that, or they could get better at the right guard spot. They actually can get better there. They can bring in some competition. That's what they do here. I think he makes the team, possibly depth at first, but he can find himself in that starting role. That's a big-time pickup. I thought he would go 4th or 5th round, too. So, surprising he went undrafted. They also got Trey Lamar, linebacker from Clemson, tackling machine. Not super athletic. That's why he went undrafted. He definitely can make the team. A couple other guys, an offensive lineman, Ryan Pope, has a chance, and Malik Carney, pass rusher from North Carolina, also has a chance. But, between Benshavel and Ryan Pope, one of these guys, at least one of these guys has to make the team, and I'm picking Benshavel. But Ryan Pope can honestly make the team, too. I'll say 2 guys make the team. One of the offense linemen, which obviously my pick is Benshavel, and Trey Lamar, I'd say, makes the team as well. So pretty good group that the Lions brought in here. Very impressive. Next team's the Bills. I picked Tyree Jackson. The only other one I really considered was David Sills. David Sills is pretty much a red zone only guy, and I think they're pretty solid with their red zone guys already. So Sills, I say, has a chance, probably won't. Tyree Jackson, I think, makes the team, but it's not really a guarantee. I think he should make the team. Why? Because I think they have other backup quarterbacks, but like Barkley, they extended at the end of last year. But Jackson, to me, is another Josh Allen-style quarterback. It makes sense to have a similar style quarterback as backup. Can't stand when teams get, I'm not saying the Bills have that currently, but there's teams all the time that have a backup to their starting quarterback that is just really nowhere near the same style, and they're trying to run that offense. It's a little strange. So I think it just makes sense that Tyree Jackson makes the team. We'll see if it happens, though. Not really a great haul for them, but a couple good guys there. The Broncos are next. Another team with really not the best haul. They did get Brett Rippon, he's probably the best free agent pickup, but it's going to be tough to make it, as a quarterback, obviously, on that team, especially with them drafting Drew Lock to be their backup. But Elijah Holder, to me, has a chance. I thought there was a chance he could go 7th round. He's a solid corner, and they need depth, and especially with Chris Harris, possibly out, losing Roby. They definitely need depth there at the outside corner position. So I don't know if he makes the team. I'd say most likely not. So this is one of these teams where it's just he has the best chances. I don't know if he'll make the team, but they could use corner depth, and he's probably the best what they got there. Moving on to the next team, it's going to be the Bengals. Stanley Morgan Jr. from Nebraska. One of the better, probably the best undrafted free agent in terms of my board. I had a second-round grade on him. I thought he's a very solid receiver, one of the better route runners in the group. So I'm confused why he didn't get drafted. He can catch. He can run after catch. I've seen him block. The Bengals didn't get too much at all after Morgan Jr. here, but so he's by far their best player, and that's why he's on here. They have a pretty good receiver room, so it will be tough, but he's a very good receiver. If they can find a trade partner for Ross, even though they're different style receivers, that'll make room for Stanley Morgan. So that'll be my pick for the Bengals. The Packers are next. My pick for the Packers is Randy Ramsey, the pass rusher from Arkansas. Played more of a D-end role. I think he fits much better at this outside linebacker role for the Packers. And they need for that 3-4 outside linebacker spot, they need depth there. They have starters, obviously. And really they got 3 solid guys in there. But Ramsey would be good depth for them there. They also have Joshua Nijman, offensive lineman from Virginia Tech. And then Manny Wilkins would be a wild card, the quarterback from Arizona State. But really, if any of them would make the team, I think it'd be Randy Ramsey. I don't know if anyone else makes the team there. Next up, we got the Dolphins had a heck of an undrafted free agency period here. My pick for them, I got multiple guys making the team for the Dolphins, so we'll wait for that. My pick is Jonathan Ledbetter from Georgia. Very good run-stopping defensive end. He fits the 4-3, what they're trying to run. And just sometimes, that's why he went undrafted, because he's really only a run-stopper, doesn't get after the quarterback too much. But we've seen these guys, it doesn't happen a whole bunch, but the guys that are already polished for their run-stopping, if a good coach is in there, they develop, the pass rush traits, and they end up being ridiculous. I'm thinking of Daniil Hunter. I think he had 2.5 sacks in his career at LSU, but he was an elite run stopper already. So, a guy like that, could see some similarities there. Maybe not a freak athlete like him, but if you develop that pass rush game, it could be scary because he's already got the run stopping ability, and that's the type of guy they need. Brian Flores in there, he can definitely develop him. So I think he makes the team, and they need defensive ends. That's the main thing. They need the defensive ends. So I think he makes the team. I think Preston Williams makes the team. I think they need a receiver in there. Preston Williams would have been drafted, the receiver out of Colorado State, if it wasn't for off-the-field issues. He's very solid pretty much any part of the game for a receiver. Deion Calhoun from Mississippi State can play guard, play center. I think he'll play guard, and they definitely need depth, possibly a starter in the near future. I think he makes the team. And Terrell Hanks from New Mexico State, a very solid a very instinctive linebacker that can hit, not super athletic. Maybe that's why he went undrafted. Very good starting linebacker for the Dolphins, but no depth. I think Terrell Hanks makes the team. So that's 4 guys I think make the team. Another guy to look out for is Montre Hardage, the cornerback from Northwestern. Possibility. But I think it's realistic these 4 guys I named first can make the team. So very impressive undrafted free agency period from the Miami Dolphins. Super impressive. The Falcons are next. Didn't like too many guys the Falcons got. I really like 2 of the receivers. The one you see on the screen here from Syracuse, Olamide Zaccheaus. But the other one was Khalil Lewis from Cincinnati. Pretty athletic receiver. Can get open pretty much anywhere on the field. But the Syracuse receiver, shifty. I think he possibly can take the Justin Hardy spot. You're not saying he will. I think he's going to compete for that, that role, that rotation guy that kind of plays in the slot. He's a little undersized. That's why he went undrafted. But, it's tough to make the team on the Falcons at the receiver position. But they got a couple good ones here. Other than that, nothing special there that I think could make the team. So most likely none of these guys I think will make the team. But a couple receivers to look out for there. Next team is the Redskins. I like linebacker B.J. Blunt from McNeese State. There's a few reasons why I think he can make the team because, he looked good at East-West Shrine game, really stood out there. He was a productive linebacker flying around the field, making plays, playing against weaker competition there, playing for McNeese State. But there's also some talk about, with his athleticism, he can step back and play safety possibly. So really, he's got 2 chances to make the team, trying out linebacker, trying out in safety. They also need another safety, for the future alongside Landon Collins. So I think there's a couple opportunities for him to make the team. He looked real good at East-West Shrine game, like I mentioned. And the other one I think has an opportunity. I don't think both make the team, but JoJo McIntosh, the safety from Washington. Like I said, they could use another safety in there. So I think B.J. Blunt has the better opportunity because he's really trying out at 2. You would think he's trying out at 2 spots. I guess that's my take on it. So I'd look out for him there for the Redskins. I mean, he can make the team as either a linebacker or safety, honestly. Next team is the Carolina Panthers. Really no haul at all for them. Elijah Holyfield is my pick for them because I think he's a pretty darn good running back. You put on the tape, he looks really good. Like 100% a draftable running back. He's got power, quickness. He can cut, he can move. Not crazy long speed, but doesn't look terrible. Then he gets to the combine, and then that's kind of what blew it. To me, he was trying to run a specific way. Like he knew he was being timed. It wasn't really football running to me. So I don't think that speed really shows up when even in the NFL level. I think he has more speed than that from the combine is what I'm saying. I think he can make the team. They definitely need these types of backs back there, but it's still gonna be tough to make the team because they drafted Jordan Scarlett, and I like him a lot too. And they have Artis Payne too. So they'll keep 3 running backs between the 3 I just named. They'll keep 2 of those. So Holyfield's tape is good. He's a strong runner. I like this tape. So he has an up. That's football too. That's the combine. Is football testing. It's not real football, obviously. So Holyfield has definitely an opportunity here, but not really much else for the Panthers. So that's why it was pretty easy for him to make my list here. Another running back, the Browns, Darren Hall, the Pittsburgh running back. I had a 4th-round grade on him. I like Darren Hall a lot. Really, I think a pretty complete back. He can really do everything. Not going to be super flashy with his cuts, really. I guess it's the only thing he's lacking. But a solid running back, hits the hole, breaks tackles. He's got speed too. He's for a good-sized back. And looking at the Browns, they have a list of running backs they can use, but Hunt obviously is suspended, and then Duke Johnson, very realistically, he can be traded. If they keep him, they don't really use him as your traditional running back. So to me, Darren Hall easily can make this team. He's a heck of a running back. He's going to show that while he's trying out for them in camp. I think he makes the team here. I think it's definitely a possibility or a realistic chance he makes the team. They got a couple other good guys. Wyatt Ray from Boston College, a very solid defensive end, fits their defense to me, and he got pretty solid production. And his lack of snaps, I guess, didn't have for a whole career. Because other solid pass rushers at Boston College. And then Trevon Tate, solid offensive lineman, has there's a possibility he can make a team too. But I think Darren Hall does make the team, and I think there's a solid chance Wyatt Ray does. So we're looking at possible 2 players here for the Browns making the team. Next is the Vikings. I did not like the Vikings undrafted free agency haul here. Jake Browning's the pick. I don't really know if he makes it. It's still up in the air. I'm not saying he makes the team with this year, but I think he has the best chance because they paid him a good amount of money. And you look at his sophomore year, he had real good production, was real good, looked like a top pick, really. Kind of went downhill. So, the Vikings bringing Kubiak in there, maybe they're confident they can bring that back out of him. They see his potential. I think he can stick around, but they have, obviously, Cousins as a starter, and they have Sean Mannion, and they have Kyle Sloter. So, chances are the Browning might be the 4th best one there, but because of his potential and what they see in him, they may give him, a bump, and what we've seen what they paid him. So they might be high on him already. So they didn't really get too much else. Micah Abernathy from Tennessee was better early on in his career, so maybe a guy like Mike Zimmer, his DB background can bring something out of him. But I don't know if really any of these guys make it for the Vikings. Next team is the Titans, and my pick was Alex Barnes from Kansas State, the running back. And it was tough because I think by a little bit over Barnes, I think the best guy they got was Anthony Ratliff-Williams, the wide receiver from North Carolina. He's flashy. He can catch the ball anywhere on the field. They use him in different ways. And they could use another receiver. I think Anthony Ratliff-Williams should make the team. But I think it would be easier for a guy like Alex Barnes, who I think was a draftable running back, pretty strong, could hit the hole a little faster, breaks tackles though. Really, he's got to beat out Fluellen for that 3rd running back, and I think that's realistic. So I think he can be their 3rd running back there. And I can see Alex Barnes making the team. Like I mentioned, I think Anthony Ratliff-Williams can make the team. As if they keep 6 receivers, then he'll make the team, I think. If it's 5, he's going to have a battle. They also got Hamp Cheevers and Derek Roberson. Hamp Cheevers, the corner from Boston College, playmaker. And then Derek Roberson, former Texas pass rusher, was Sam Houston State's pass rusher. A lot of production. He fits their defense. He has some potential there. So I think 2 guys, out of those 4, I think 2 guys would definitely make the team. I see Alex Barnes being their 3rd running back, so pretty darn good haul for the Tennessee Titans. The Steelers, not a big haul for them. Really, the only guy I consider is on the screen right now, Fred Johnson from Florida. I think they slide him into guard. They didn't draft a guard either, so unless they want to move Derwin Gray in there, but I think they'll keep him outside of tackle. So I think they need some guard depth, and I think Fred Johnson can be that there. So I think I'd say he makes the team, not guaranteeing anything here, but not too much outside of that. I didn't really like their haul, but it's not like they needed it that much. Next team is the Seahawks. I like Taron Christian, the quarterback from South Dakota State. I think he makes the team. I think they're going to see a lot of Trevon Boykin in him, who they liked, the old TCU quarterback, speedy quarterback. They liked him as Russell Wilson's backup. And then, the only reason he's not on the team right now is because he had an off-the-field issue. I think he would be on the team. So I think they'll see a lot of that in Christian. And I think they could definitely use him as a backup quarterback. He's a speedy quarterback. I don't want to say run first. I don't know if there's really any run first quarterbacks because, they're throwing obviously more than they're running unless they're playing in the triple option or that style offense. But I think Christian makes the team, honestly. I think he makes it as a backup quarterback. That's the style of quarterback. I think they're going to see some Boykin in him, and they liked Boykin a lot as their backup. But they also got a couple offensive linemen, Martez Ivy and B.J. Autry. I think, those guys have a chance. But a guy to look out for is Derek Thomas, the corner from Baylor, because they definitely need another corner for depth. And Derek Thomas, realistically, could have been drafted very late, but didn't. And I think that's a good pickup. He can make the team. Pretty good combine from him, too. So a couple guys that can definitely make the team. Pretty good haul for the Seahawks. Next team is the Ravens. Gerald Willis is a pretty obvious one because he could have been even a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round realistic. He didn't get drafted. A pretty solid defensive lineman to get after the quarterback. And they needed depth at that position. So pretty good pickup. Also looking at Antoine Wesley, the receiver from Texas Tech. Very long outside receiver. Little undersized, not in terms of height, but in terms of weight, I should say. And I think he can make the team because they needed receivers pretty badly, but they also drafted 2 that might be their top 2 receivers. So it might be tough for him to make it. I think Gerald Willis makes it. I think he definitely makes it. Wesley has a chance. Next up, we got the Texans. Texans had a very good haul. Wasn't in love with their actual draft. Love their undrafted free agency class. I think Albert Huggins makes it because they definitely need another nose tackle. I think he fits that nose tackle. He actually can become, a rotation guy and become a starter down the line here pretty easily. A lot of upside come from Clemson. The whole Clemson defensive lineman, obviously, the whole defensive line got drafted, and Huggins was pretty solid when he got his opportunities there. So he's got some upside in the NFL. I also really like Jamal Davis from Akron. He's an outside linebacker, fits their 3-4 defense perfectly. He had a hell of a combine. They need more pass rush. They need more with Clowney, and obviously they still have Clowney. But, things got to get done with him, with the contract. But Jamal Davis, I think he makes it. I think that outside linebacker makes it. He's not going to play much at first, but he has a future, a lot of upside for the athletic pass rusher. Karan Higdon, I think, can make it. The Michigan running back, they definitely need running back depth. Lamar Miller, not getting any better. He was pretty solid last year, but could be looking for the guy of the future. Foreman, with this past injury, and I think Higdon can make it. Derek Beatty, the corner from Kentucky, I think realistically he can make it. They need more corners, even though they drafted some. I think he can make it. Drew Lewis, linebacker from Colorado. Looks like they need linebacker depth. He's athletic. He has a possibility. He's a guy with some upside. And then Johnny Dixon, the receiver from Ohio State, possibly can make it as well. Now, which guys do I think make it? I say Albert Huggins, Jamal Davis make it. Higdon, there's a good chance he makes it. And then Beatty, I think he can make it too. It's a solid chance, but then Drew Lewis and Dixon most likely won't make it, but they have an opportunity. It's a very good haul for the Texans here. Some guys that can help their team out right away. The Bears, I like Dax Raymond a lot. He should have been drafted. Very solid blocking tight end that's pretty athletic, when he gets the ball in his hands too. I think he should have been used more as a receiving tight end, as a threat downfield, really, out of Utah State. And the Bears, to me, definitely can use a guy like this. They have Trey Burton, who did miss some games, unfortunately, last year. So maybe that's a possibility in the future. Raymond can help up there. Shaheen just really hasn't impressed me, and he keeps getting hurt. Wasn't a fan of that pick coming out. So they definitely can use a guy like Dexter. I think he makes the team. I think he'll be good in this Nagy offense. I think he should make the team. I think he will make the team. Alex Bars from Notre Dame, the guard. Then they need guard depth. I think it's realistic he can make the team. He would have got drafted. It wasn't for an injury. I think between him and Joe Lowry, the Ohio guard, I think one of those guys makes the team. I'll say Bars unless the injury comes back up. Emmanuel Hall was definitely their best undrafted free agent, but they have a very, very good receiver room. Maybe the best receiver unit in football in terms of, the whole unit. And they drafted Riley Ridley. So it's going to be tough for Emmanuel Hall. He's very solid. But it's going to be tough for him. But he's definitely the best undrafted free agent. I think Dax Raymond makes it in one of those guards. It'll be tough for Hall, but he has an opportunity. Next up, we got the Eagles, TJ Edwards. I think it's a pretty clear cut here. That was their best player they got, and they definitely need more linebackers, possibly a guy that can start pretty early on in his career, but definitely important depth right away. Tackling machine, pretty instinctive, doesn't have good size or crazy athleticism. That's why he didn't get drafted, but I think he makes the team. They also got Ryan Bates, Penn State offensive lineman. He can play guard for them. I think it's realistic. Bates makes the team too, so pretty good two guys they got here. Next is the Colts. I like Penny Hart for them. It's going to be tough for Penny Hart to make the team, the Georgia State receiver, because they have a long list of receivers. They don't have the best unit, but they have a long list of guys that can play. I'm really looking forward to Deion Kane from last year. He got hurt. I thought that was a steal in undrafted free agency. But if there's injuries or Penny Hart looks like he did it in the Senior Bowl practices, definitely can make the team. The only other one I considered was Jamal Peters, a long physical corner, just lacking some athleticism, but he has some upside there, some good play at Mississippi State. But Penny Hart is the most realistic chance here, but it'll be a tough task for him. The Cowboys, I like Daniel Weiss, pretty easy one for me to choose here. Kansas D lineman, he had a lot of production, really carried that Kansas defensive line this year. Didn't have the best combine, maybe that's why he didn't get drafted. Cowboys definitely need more defensive line. I think he makes the team, very solid production. I think he can play right away, honestly. Mitch Hyatt, the Clemson offensive lineman, has an opportunity to make the team. I'm going to say most likely not. I'm looking at really only Daniel Weiss, but I'm confident he can make it. The Chargers are next. Not that great of a haul for them. The only one I like was Daniel Helm, the Duke tight end. Really a balanced tight end. Not super flashy, but really can do it all. I think he can make the team as the third tight end, and if there's an unfortunate injury again, which don't think there will be, but if there happens to be, then Helm definitely makes the team. So I think he has a chance as a third tight end. I think he has a pretty good chance, actually, but I'm not going to guarantee that one. But that's really the only guy I liked for their undrafted free agency group there. Next up was the Chiefs. I think this is one of the more guaranteed, like the locks here. Mark Fields, because they waited to take a corner, and that was Rashad Fenton. They took him late. And to me, I had a better grade on Fields, even though they're two totally different types of corners. They're both corners, and the Chiefs need corners. Fields definitely can play in the slot. Tight in coverage, a lot of pass deflections. Not going to be a big-time playmaker, but if he does get in hands on the ball, he might be gone because he's very fast, very athletic, and that kind of plays a part at getting the pass deflections that he got, the pass breakups. So Mark Fields, to me, if there was a player that I had to guarantee on this list, it might be Mark Fields to make the team. Maybe Tavon Coney. Between those two, possibly, but I don't see why Mark Fields would not make the team here. That is a very good pickup for the Chiefs. They also got plenty of other good pickups. I like Gary Johnson, a linebacker from Texas. Pretty solid athleticism at the combine. That doesn't really show up on tape too much, but a high motor guy. I think he can make the team as depth. James Williams can make the team, the pass-catching running back from Washington State. I think he'll really, show him he can be a big part of that, the passing game, which they already have guys that can be part of that, but he's almost like a receiver, he's a running back, but he's built like a running back. That's what I'm trying to say. He's a running back because he's built like a running back, and he can run. But the way he plays in the passing game, catching the ball, really looks like a receiver to me. So he definitely can make the team. They got a few other receivers I like, but Cody Thompson from Toledo is the guy to keep an eye on because he's a really good special teamer. He can make it there, and maybe as their last listed receiver on the depth chart. So quite a few guys that can make the team, and they can have 2 or 3 guys make the team here. So pretty good group for the Chiefs. The Saints, tough to choose one here because they got a few good ones. Devine Ozigbo from Nebraska. I had a draftable grade on him. I think he makes the team as their third running back. Obviously Kamara and then Latavius Murray are the clear-cut 1 and 2. And then Ozigbo, I think, makes it as the third running back, and he's definitely the best undrafted guy they got. But Lil Jordan Humphrey, I think, can make it too. He didn't have a good combine, pretty bad combine, honestly. That's why he didn't get drafted, but he looks a lot faster on tape, and he can catch the ball. He made, mismatches, really, in the Big 12 there and dominated at the receiver position for Texas. So I think the Saints could use another receiver. I think there's a chance that Lil Jordan Humphrey makes the team. And then Carl Granderson, Wyoming pass rusher, I think is an opportunity too because they got good pass rushers, but not a real good depth there. So few guys that can make the team for the Saints. They did a pretty good job. Next team is going to be the Rams. Did not like their haul, but that's okay. They didn't really need an undrafted free agency haul. The only one I think really has a shot is Kenan Brown, the tight end, kind of like an H-back guy. It's a weapon at the tight end position from Texas State. So I can see him in McVay's offense, but they already have guys like, Higbee's your traditional tight end, and Everett's kind of the weapon tight end. So is it necessary? I think he fits. I think he has an opportunity. I'm just saying most likely not, but he definitely has a chance. And then we're on to the last team. The Patriots got a pretty good haul here, but I'm picking Andrew Beck, the tight end / fullback / H-back from Texas there. Really because they need tight ends, and that's why he's on here. He can play, he can block. He can be sneaky in the pass game too, but, I think so he's solid, but I think mainly it's because they can definitely use another tight end. They just traded Hollister too to the Seahawks, so I think he can make the team. I think there's a realistic shot he does. And then looking at Jacoby Myers, receiver from NC State there, slot receiver with good size, that kind of fits today's NFL, but then doesn't have the crazy athleticism, but he can catch the ball in traffic. Has an opportunity. Malik Gant, to me, is a Patriots receiver. I think he's a good fit, possible future Patrick Chung replacement, but good enough to make the team now. That's the question. Then Terez Hall, the Missouri linebacker, has an opportunity there too. So there's the three guys I just named have pretty solid chances. I'd say my only pick, though, to actually make it be Andrew Beck from Texas. Solid player, and mainly because they need those tight ends. So we got through all 32 teams here. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Who has the best chance for each team? If you're a fan of a team out there, who's your favorite guy? Who has the best chance to make it? Who's the best chance to really play early on in the career? So very interesting topic here. We're going to start predicting the upcoming season, do some record predictions, all kinds of stuff like that. Player rankings, predicting how the players will be through the upcoming season. Maybe every team's best player, who every team's best player will be, breakout player. We're going to cover the NBA lottery and NBA draft as well. So a lot to get to throughout this offseason. But that's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Thanks for all the support. It's been awesome. That's going to do it, though. Goodbye.